Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Becky, and if you're new here then welcome and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. We are going to be doing some DIY candles in today's video. They're going to be super easy to make and you can make it from bits that you'll probably already have in your house. So without further ado, grab yourself a drink and let's go on with the video. Okay guys, so Christmas is coming up and it is the perfect time to make some really heartfelt gifts. So a lot of people like giving candles at Christmas, and instead of going out and buying them, you can easily make them at home. For example, I made this one and I've got a multi-layered approach here, and I have put this in an old Yankee candle jar, and I made it from bits of leftover candles that I had that hadn't burned properly. So what you're going to need for today's craft is some leftover candle wax. So I got given this one year. It doesn't really smell loads, so I can add my own essential oils into it. And then I've also broken up some extra candle wax in here. These are all just from leftover candles. Now you can buy candle wax, but because I have loads of leftover ones, I remelt it down, repurpose it, and it saves some money as well. So you're going to want some candle wax. Like I said, you can either buy it or use what you've already got. You're going to want a container to put your melted wax in. So I'm actually going to be making some retro Coke candles. So I've made one here already. See the wick just sticking out the top. Now, we used to collect these from McDonald's many years ago, and we just have them lying around the house, and I don't really like them to drink out of, so I was thinking, what can I do to repurpose them? And that's when I thought, you know, it's quite like quirky decor to have like a little Coke candle. So that's what I'm going to be using. Like I said, I've also used leftover Yankee candle jars. You can literally put them in whatever you want. You can thrift some really nice bowls or vases from like charity stores that you can put the wax in as well. So alongside that, you're also then going to want some wick, like candle making supplies. So I got these in a pack from Amazon, and I will make sure to link it down below. That's Woody, if you can hear him. I'll just let him out. Okay, sorry about that. So like I said, I picked these up from Amazon. The kit that I got came with a few different size wicks. You've got some little sticky pads that you can put at the bottom of your desired container or jar, and that's going to help the wick stand. And then also basically they're just lollipop sticks with holes in the middle, and this is what you can kind of rest the wick in. So this is probably the only thing that you really do need to buy to make this work. I have tried making my own wicks before and they just don't burn as well, so definitely invest in some. And then you're also going to want a pan and a jug that you can put your wax in, although I have also seen people just melting the wax in the containers they're already in, which is probably a nifty little solution. So all we're going to do is, I've already got some wax in here that was left over from a candle, so I'm just going to do the same. I'm going to get all the leftover wax out of this candle, pop it in the jug, then I'm going to add some water to my pan and get that boiling on the stove. And then I'm just going to put the jug in. Oh, that was quite loud. And let that melt, and then that's going to be easy for us then to pour into our container. So what I'll do is I'll just prep the wax and get it into the jug. I'll show you what it looks like in a close-up as I'm melting it, and then I'll show you how I prep my container and put the wick in as well. Right, so I've got all my wax in my jug ready to melt. I've got some water in my pan that I'm going to put on the hob. Now, it is also worthwhile mentioning, use a jug that you don't really mind kind of getting stained or getting residual wax on it. So this is purely just for candle making for me. I don't use it for food, I don't use it for anything else, just because it does end up sticking to it. Even if it is melted, when you are trying to like clean it afterwards, it can stick to the jug. So that's what I'll be using. You can add, like I said earlier, essential oils, so you can have it smelling in whatever scent you want. As my candles are already pre-scented, I'll probably leave it as it is. But a good tip is if you've got like different coloured candles or different smelling candles, so let's say you've got a gingerbread one and like a lemon scented one, you probably don't want to melt those two flavours together or scents together, because it'll probably end up being a bit weird and the colours might be different as well. So definitely try and, like for this one, I had two different, I had a caramel and gingerbread, so I thought those scents would work well together. This one was just lavender, and then this was a few different white candles that I had, but I'd never merged any scents that wouldn't kind of work well together, if that makes sense. That's enough chatting. I'm gonna put my jug in my pan with water, and I'm gonna leave this on the hob. Now obviously just monitor it, make sure it doesn't bubble over, make sure you can keep stirring it. But while that's starting to melt, I will show you how I prep my container. So I know this is clean already. I'm then going to go in with one of my little sticky pads, and we want to try and get this at the centre of my container. So what I will do, I've just got like a chopstick here. So I can push it down because it's an awkward shape. Just take the top sticky pad off. I'm just going to stick it to my chopstick, and then I can use that just to press it into the bottom of the Coke glass. And then I'll just go in with my knife to pull it off. So as you can see, that's now at the bottom of my Coke glass. And then I can go in with one of these wicks, and it's already preset into your little metal thing. Obviously you can measure it to size and always go bigger rather than smaller, because then you can trim it off, and you do want a good amount of wick left. So all I'm going to do is literally just stick it nice and central onto that, and then I'll just go back in with my chopstick to press it down. Now you do want to make sure it is central, because obviously you're going to have it burning a bit skew with, and you don't really want that, because then you're going to end up with even more leftover wax. So once you've got your wick in, you want to go in with one of like the lollipop sticks, and you're just going to feed it through and then balance it on, make sure it's central and hold it in place. And then that's your container, your glass, whatever you're going to be using prepared. What I will mention is, if you're not sure whether it is quite heat resistant or heat treated, I always, because we're going to be adding really hot wax into it, to avoid the container from cracking and smashing, I will just preheat it with some water, like dunk it in some hot water, just so the glass is kind of prepared for the hot wax going in and avoid it shattering. But anyway, I will show you what the wax looks like as it's melting, and then I'll do a close-up of me pouring in as well. Right guys, so my wax has fully melted. Just be careful if you're lifting the jug out, because the jug will probably be quite hot as well. So I'm just going to get some, like a tea towel to protect my hands. So you can see there's no bits left in there. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. And then what I am going to do is, as I mentioned before, I'm just going to gently dip my glass into the hot water, just to start making sure that it's up to temperature, so when the hot wax goes in, it's not just going to completely shatter. And then what this will also do is just help the wax set. So as you're pouring in your wax, you generally get a dip. So if I show you this, you can see there's a slight dip in the centre, and that's because as the wax cools, it sticks to the outside first, then it falls in, and you can generally get some air pockets. So we are going to do this gradually. We'll pour a bit of wax in at a time, but by also heating the glass, you're just going to help prevent that from happening. Now, there's probably people that make candles for a living, and they'll probably be saying, what is she doing? That's the wrong technique. This is just how I'm doing it. I'm not saying I'm a professional candle maker by any means, but this is how I just make it at home by myself. So, I'm next going to get my hot wax. Make sure the wick is central. I'll just make sure you can see. And then just going to gradually, so hold my wick quite tight. I'm just going to pour. Okay, and then all we're going to do is we're going to let that set a little bit now that I've got the first layer in. And once it has set a bit more, then I'll start pouring in some more of the wax. So I'll leave the rest of the wax just in the pan, just so it stays warm, and then we'll come back to do the next layer. Okay, so now once this first part is kind of semi-set, we can go in again. And I'm just going to fill in probably about the same amount. So I'm going to leave that. Okay, so now I've poured that in, I'm going to leave that to set just like I did the last one. Then I'll pour in the remaining wax. There'll probably be a bit of a rim left, but that's fine, just because I didn't have any more wax ready to use and I wanted to use up bits from around the home instead of buying in. I'll show you what that looks like, and then hopefully we'll have our other coat candle made. Right guys, once your candle is set, you can remove your little like lollipop stick holder, and then you just want to trim the wick, not too much, leave a good few centimetres on it. It'll look a bit weird, but it'll just help it burn a bit better. And then you've got your little coat candle. Now obviously it looks a bit different to this one. This one I filled to the top, this one we've left kind of semi-full. That was mainly just because I ran out of spare candle wax, which can happen, which is why obviously if you know you are making these for gifts, you can buy the wax online instead of using leftover wax from around your house. But yeah, so hopefully you can see that was super easy to make. It'll make a lovely gift for someone as part of like a Christmas hamper. It can make a stocking filler, anything like that. And it's just a nice quick piece of decor. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button also. If you've made it to this part of the video, comment down below the little fire emoji, because obviously you like candles. I'll catch you at the next one. Thanks guys, bye!